Hey, what is going on everybody? My name is Payne and welcome back to another anime review video. In this video, I've decided that compared to the last video where we talked about a huge show like Love Live, I want to talk about a show that is not one of two things. It's two things. First one, it's more recent than Love Live, and second, not that many people know about this show and I believe it's fairly underrated. And in this video, we'll be talking about a anime TV series made back in 2017 known as Interviews with Monster Girls. The show is based off a manga that has made 5 volumes since 2014 and has 13 episodes, and it was made by A1 Pictures. The story surrounding this show is about a guy by the name of Tetsuo Takahashi. He is a biology teacher at a high school who in college learned a lot about demi-humans, or demis for short, who, normally live with humans in this society. And when he discovers that there are 4 demi-humans at the high school he is working in, he decides to conduct interviews with all 4 of them to learn about what they are, who they are, how they live, and how they cope with their problems. The 4 demi-humans, or demis, being Hikari Takanashi, who is a vampire, Kyoko Machi, who is a Dullahan, and for anyone who doesn't know who a Dullahan is, you remember the Headless Horseman? Exactly. There is Yuki Kusakube, who is a snow woman, and there is Saki Sato, who is a succubus and is the only one out of the 4 demis who is not a student. She is a math teacher. And throughout the whole series, Tetsuo helps out all 4 demis in terms of socially, how to cope with their problems, and it's in some cases a feel-good series as well. But now let's bring up the characters, or bring up why I think this show is pretty good, starting with the characters, and it'll bring up why, what problems these characters have and how they're able to cope with them. Now, starting off with Hikari Takanashi, because she is a vampire, she is not able to suck blood out of someone's neck or out of someone in general. She is actually given blood packs by the government to drink from every day. That is the story. I'm not making this up. That is the story that they give her. There is Kyoko, who has it's mainly social issues. She is the shy character, and because she has to hold her head at around, let me show you, like her head, she has no head right here. She has to hold it at around like chest height, and it's because that she does that every time she's at school. Every day she goes there, she feels different. You have Yuki, who is the snow woman. She believes that her powers could harm people, but until Tetsuo talks to her and shows her what her powers could really do, clears everything up for her. And then finally there is Sato, who is a succubus, and I think is my favorite character because I shouldn't laugh at people's problems, but it's really what her issues are. It's because she is a succubus. She comes to school every day wearing a tracksuit to not easily seduce any of the male students. She lives in a log cabin right in the middle of the woods because every time she sleeps, she makes the males around her pass out and have wet dreams or something like that. It's something very similar. I am not making this up. I am not a creep. And she is actually one of a couple of the demis that has a crush on Tetsuo. Her reasoning is because she believes that Tetsuo is immune to what she has, when in reality, he doesn't. And it's because of these problems, it's because of these issues that these characters have that makes it, that makes the characters the best part of the show. They make them likable, they make them relatable, and is easily, in some cases, memorable. Mainly because of either the issues or because their problems are just so funny. But what takes the cake in terms of the character development and the character in general is Tetsuo. He is, the only male character and the only human main character out of the show. So it's safe for me to say that he is my favorite male and my favorite human character. And it is because of his willingness to help the demis, starting with the interviews. The interviews are the most impactful ones because in some cases can be interviews where, it can end up being pretty funny, to heartwarming stories and, heartwarming moments and where he can help the other demis. There was even a couple of cases where it was actually educational for people like me, learning about, other stuff about vampires, other stuff about Dullahans especially. Regardless if they're fake or not, their intention was to educate the viewer and to educate him. One thing that I think is interesting and unique about this show compared to others of this nature is its talk about social commentary, or its message of social commentary, where during the series, the message that this series has and the story and the problem that it faces is that it talks about a specific group of people who are different, who, are not like everyone else, trying to get into society with, regardless of what problems they have. You have no idea how much I can relate to that just by saying it. I think it's pretty good, especially towards people who think they're different, especially high schoolers like me, who think they're different, who think that they're not like everyone else because they like something different, or because they look different, or because they act different. This is a perfect show to look at because it gives those people hope that, something can come up, that something can come out of this. And that's why I think this show is pretty underrated. Now, on to the one part that I think is a bit of an issue, and that is that the show goes into a little bit of a harem territory. Now, before I continue with this, for anyone who doesn't know, a harem is a type of genre in anime where it normally has one guy and a large number of girls, and all the girls all the girls have a crush on the guy, and in some cases, it ranges from cute to just annoying, and in some cases disturbing. But fortunately, I have not faced that yet, and hopefully I don't. And in this case in the show, it is the demis have a crush on Tetsuo. I said that the first one was Saki. The other one is actually Kyoko because of his kind nature towards her. There was actually a couple of episodes where that was the main focal point, or part of the main focal point was her having a crush on Tetsuo. Fortunately, though, it stops as quickly as it came into the scene, so it didn't really affect the plot that much, or as much of the plot that there already was. This show, it was a little bit of a comedy as well. There were a couple of characters where, in most cases, it was pretty funny. From, I think, Hikari, who is the one character, and for people who watch anime a lot, you'll know who I'm talking about. The one character who's always out there, the one who is always funny, just who at first glance doesn't care about, what other people think, or just always says the wittiest things. But in reality, she is a character that deeply cares for everyone else, especially her friends. So, yeah, it gets rid of that notion. And a couple of times towards Sato, who is the nervous one, especially towards the beginning of the series, where again it talks about what problems she has with her living in a log cabin, and the fact that she is wearing a tracksuit, and that she is nervous all the time towards other males, especially Tetsuo, but she is fine with him after a while because again she believes that he's immune. Now, my final take on this show, the premise looks like any other show. It's a show with one guy, a bunch of girls. The girls are monsters. That's the premise. Not to mention that there's barely any plot. What's really unique about the story anyway? But for anyone who is curious, just like me, about any show that I look at, want to take a crack at it, I highly suggest you take a crack at this one, even though the premise doesn't say otherwise. It has some pretty funny characters, it has some pretty funny traits, and it doesn't turn into something along the lines of, like, a high school rom-com or anything like that. It's none of that. And it's unique in its own way, again, because it talks about social commentary, and it talks about problems and how to fix them, which I'm pretty sure are two of the same thing. But overall, this show, it's not that half bad, to be honest. I'm going to give Interviews with Monster Girls, screwed up the name for a split second, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Pretty decent, not too bad, not too good ranking. Something for a show like this, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty satisfied with the ranking. So again, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button down below. If you want to see more videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once again, my name is Payne, and I'll see you in the next video.